Hello. Welcome back to another very special of another very special of another very special chapter of The Stars Above. I'm trying to be a little quiet this morning because it is breakfast time for the baby crows behind me. If you'll take notice of the nest etched out of the lunar carved stone behind me, quite a remarkable thing. I don't wish to disturb them, but we have a very special chapter today. Shout out War Crow and the Mother Crow and their 3 young. So we're gonna skip the sponsors. We're gonna skip the goofing. We're gonna turn off our noise reduction so that we can hear them feed. And we're just gonna sail into this very magical chapter. I wonder what they're eating this morning. Perhaps rodent. Perhaps the war crow has caught some rodent. I'm not too sure. What little baby crows eat. But I'm sure it's absolutely delectable. Chapter 23, Strength in Foundation. Just days after that night's existential crisis, Thea would call. "It's time, kiddo," she spoke softly. "You've arrived at the leg of our journey which calls you home. We must return to Pyramid Lake. Bring Monkey along." I'd agree without question, yet had many. Having never been there, how could I be returning? She didn't know what took place between us, so why was Monkey needed? Had she experienced a vision of our shared psychosis? The drive was made in silence. As always, Thea kept her gaze on the horizon, wearing a cunning smile as she played with wind outside the window. While words weren't spoken, they were felt stirring within. Her spirit's whispers were indecipherable to the ear. The dialect Thea grew to adapt beyond any other was that of emotion, a language of the world soul. By noon we'd approached the hill's crest, where an otherworldly marvel was revealed, Pyramid Lake, a kingdom which thrived long before man knew of corruption or greed, planted seeds, built walls, or took blood and land, where the sun first rose dawning time, bringing First Nations people with it. We made our way up the western shore until the dirt road opened to Monument Rock. I felt like a lifelong sinner standing before heaven's gates with an entry pass in hand, knowing mistakes must have been made by upper management. Thea kneeled over the hallowed ground to cup a palm of dirt, then whispered soft hymns into it. She stood, speaking gently. "This is the land we walk upon, pray, and give ourselves to. We offer gratitude to the Lake Mother and all she provides along our journey." Thea stood silently for some time in stoic admiration, then raised her hand to the north, east, south, and west while blowing dirt in each direction, to be carried by the 4 great winds. "Do you see now, Icarus Mikhail?" she whispered. "Not with the eyes, but your heart." I dropped to my knees, placed Monkey down, and dug each palm beneath the soil. While unsure of why, I wished to give my tears to this place felt ever longed for, one so very familiar, comforting, still, and tranquil, as if having shown an unwavering patience for my destined arrival. The journeyman travels in the footsteps of his heart, not in search of destination, but the experience itself, a path of healing and discernment which leads one home. With my heart, I had seen. I raised each hand in ancestral praise, crying out, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." Thea looked over to me and smiled. Her eyes spoke of great discoveries to come. "Here is where we'll build," she said. "Today, an altar. Tomorrow, a true beginning." "An altar for ceremony?" I asked. "That's right, kiddo. An offering for the lake and its creation, a ceremony in itself." We began by harvesting sagebrush, a strong and defiant shrub, nature's own outlier, which flourishes under the harsh conditions of a diverse environment. It smelled of the land, being reminiscent of times once undisturbed, an earthy aroma of sun-drenched sand, sweet florals, and the bitterness of dry survival. Thea then showed me how to wrap them into smudge bundles with twine, to dry and burn for cleansing. The process alone was a purification my grimy spirit needed. To the lone adventurer, smudge sticks in the wild are like spiritual flares. They won't attract the attention of rescue helicopters if physically lost, but if felt metaphysically lost, may provide a nudge of guidance from those beyond the veil. In descending the hill, Thea led me to shore. "This is a good spot," she said. "Aren't we too close to the water?" I asked. "Won't it wash away?" "It shall. Much like us. Seasons change, waters rise, and currents shift. It's nature's way. I've built many altars here and all have collapsed, washing out to the depths. I return and build them stronger, upon foundations old and new, with greater understanding of stability. No different from the lessons learned of ourselves. Sometimes we collapse, washed to the depths of indifference, and feel beyond repair. But we experience these obstacles to discover strength in building anew, not from places of pain, but those of acceptance." She peered down to Monkey, chuckling. "It looks like this one's had a rough time too, chipped away at, under repair." I kept quiet in attempts to piece it all together. Thea had no idea he shattered again, nor of our conversation where he shoved these self-realizations down my throat just days prior. Yet here she was, giving me the exact same talk while using the analogy of an altar in the desert like some prophet. I simply nodded with a smile, half expecting to spot a burning bush. She continued, "These lessons are the realities you're now facing, and where you've continued to fall, so must you rise. You've begun to question yourself, the path, and purpose in your beliefs, but you don't need guidance, for you are both lock and key. The doors are open, it's up to you to step through them. You've discovered peace within chaos, light within dark, and love within fear, each answer sought having already been known. This altar we build together may crumble and fall, but the spirit within its foundation and strength within its rock will stand the tests of time. And just as you will, it shall be rebuilt." Thea dug out the base of the altar while I collected large boulders and tufa stone to form the foundation. Suddenly, blue dragonflies began surrounding us like swells of a roaring sea. "Always mind the omens, babe," she said. Her shawl fell as she continued to dig, exposing the tattoo of a blue dragonfly. Now meeting my eyes, she spoke again. "They symbolize trust, loyalty, and faith." "It seems we have an abundance of it at the moment," I said. "Best we share." "Don't you worry. They'll find their way to her." "Yeah, but I sure do miss her." "She misses you too. I should know. Our little bird paid me a visit just days ago." "No way! It's been over a month. How is she? What happened?" I could hardly believe it real. Damn near fell to my knees after opening the door to find her all goofy-eyed. I burst into the happiest tears ever shed. Give her time. Love is selfless. "Nothing makes me happier to hear, dearest." "You know, Irk, if Bird were to fall from the nest, I'd be the first to catch her, but I'll also be the first to push her from it. For if she spends her whole life safe within it, relying on me to be fed, she'd never spread her wings and never learn to fly." "That's something. Seems we've all attended the Academy of Hard Knocks and tough shit." "That we have, and now is the time to understand and implement those lessons, to overcome fear and find perspective in our pain, suffering, guilt, resentment, and regret. Tell me, do you know what an avatar is?" "Only what I've seen on cartoons," I joked. An avatar is a physical manifestation of the divine, a messenger for this world, brought here to teach. It has nothing to do with bending the elements, but understanding the fluidity of emotion in our highest self and truest essence. Celine is an avatar in the same ways that you are an alchemist, not one who can transmute lead into gold, but all that lies within pain and fear into laughter and love. These are magics behind the mastery of one's soul. This is a very delicate point in Celine's life, but make no mistake, she's on the very cusp of a grand awakening. The question is, are you willing to show her such patience and allow her such time? "What a humbling task to be appointed," I said in sarcasm. "Although blasphemous, who said I couldn't turn lead into gold?" "You're a riot." "Would you have me any other way?" "Not in any lifetime, babe." Thea smiled, getting back to work while humming hymns. Her insight alone had been a paradigm shift of consciousness, and the task before us, the lesson at hand. She hadn't desired a real response from me, having known it wasn't needed. The questions posed were rhetorical. She knew I'd always be there for Celine, for as Monkey put it, time is relative, and relatively irrelevant. Delicate she is, I thought, and time I have. Healing is a lifelong process, the slow and methodical recovery of self-awareness. It seemed the previous 30 years were spent taking one step forward and two back. Woe was another 30. Come my dying breath, if found on that flowery bed, withering at her side or all alone, it'd be with love I'd always known. With the foundation complete, Thea placed a sage bundle at its center, lighting it before pouring pebbles between cracks to stabilize the stone. This will burn within our altar, she said, leaving the ash of our spirit to settle while fertilizing our love to grow. Then came the tufa crystal. We spread it over the flat foundation to provide a good surface area to rest stone slabs for the altar's table. The large tufa slabs were found in deeper water, across slippery clay flats, and I must have fallen half a dozen times. Be careful, kiddo, Thea said, laughing. There's no rush. Be patient with the process. Recklessness leads to carelessness, carelessness to doubtfulness, doubtfulness to madness. Well, fuck me then, I said. Recklessness has always been my favorite gateway drug. She spoke like Mr. Miyagi in her suave tang. I could have tossed a rock into the lake, and like a scryer, she'd provide wisdom in the reading of ripples. Thea truly was that angel I first recognized her to be, one stuck between divinity and mortality, who severed her own wings if only to remain grounded on our world and test the will of men. A bird began cawing overhead. Atop the cliff face of Monument Rock perched a crow watching over us. A war crow, no doubt, his feathers torn and his beak jagged. While I knew little of it at the time, there was a kindred sense felt for him. He remained there for the duration of our endeavor, reminding us of his presence, as if having always watched. Caw, 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 he'd yell. You know him? Thea asked, winking. Sure seems to want your attention. Perhaps, I replied, but for an observant crow, he's obnoxious as all hell. You don't say. The slabs needed leveling as not to teeter under pressure and force a boulder out from the foundation. My legs and back grew sore as I'd grunt with each slab laid. Take it all in, Irk, Thea said. Accepting the pain is what makes seeing our work come to fruition all the sweeter. It's resilience and force of will that pushes us towards growth. Yes, yes, I said. Of course, Thea-san. Piece by piece the table was formed. We then collected clay, and she'd show me how to mix it with the right amount of water and pebble to set firm like cement. Once it dried, buckets of soft sand were laid over the top. And what does the sand represent? I asked, laughing. It's just sand, she replied. Much comfier on the ass than rock. Fits the bill, don't it? Now that our altar is complete, how do you feel? I feel complete, dearest. To have created this altar is not only ritualistic, but symbolizes all that we are, our journey to self, bonds, and love shared. Where we crumble, so shall we repair. This will be a comfortable resting place for all who visit here, until time comes for the Lake Mother to wash our offerings to her depths, and we return to build again, stronger. Thea not only showed me how to construct a sacred offering, but how to give my spirit to the land we knew is home, the place of our true beginning. She'd gift her wisdom through a conversation of soul, one we'd shared many times as she sought to teach me that when we build something, we must tend to it, and while working towards building oneself, we must remember to tend to ourselves. Thea could see our paths and the hardships we'd each face moving forward, having needed me to understand this lesson first and foremost. She knew what was to come for us, and all that would collapse must be rebuilt. We took our rest upon the altar, having felt proud, accomplished, and whole. In the offering of our endless gratitude, peace was found within. Tell me, kiddo, Thea said, keeping her gaze ahead. What lasts forever? I smiled, following each peak of the nightingales until a yellow chamisa caught my eye. See there, dear, I said. I love you like that flower loves the rain, for in your arms I'm freed from pain. I love you like these waves love the beach, the warmth of your embrace, never far from my reach. I love you like that sun loves the horizon, for it's your eyes which home the comfort I lie in. And on this eve, with his great set, I shall love you like the stars love the sky. For beneath your wing, I'll soar ever high. What lasts forever? I began to chuckle. My love for another, one shared with my mother. I'd depart Monument Rock that day with new life, a healthier outlook, and reassurance in the path, having left any sense of fear or doubt upon those humbling shores, swept out to the depths where they'd remain. I understood the work ahead would be challenging, and the hurdles perilous, but that was no matter. I knew myself ready to face them, for Thea, a mother who'd patiently awaited her children, had prepared me to. A few days after our trip to Pyramid Lake, Thea and Rob were set to visit Colorado. I was working late at the bar when Celine rang. The music was loud and her voice faint. "Icarus," she said, pausing. The distress of her tone left my stomach dropping. "What's wrong, Bird?" I asked, heading for the back alley. "Thea just called," she replied, sobbing. "Her and Rob broke up." "Wait, what? I thought they left on vacation. What happened?" "They got in a fight at the airport. He left her at the terminal, and she flew to Colorado." "I'm so sorry, Celine. We'll get through this. It'll be okay." "I just don't understand. I can't do it. Will you come over?" "I'll be right there," I said, leaving a drunk idiot still waiting on his Long Island. Celine was quiet upon arrival. It'd been a while since we last spoke heart to heart, let alone seen each other. "What's on your mind, Bird?" I asked. "I don't know," she replied. "What if she doesn't come back and is gone forever?" "Don't think like that. We don't know the whole story yet." "She told me that this has been the worst day of her life." "Well, it's all very sudden. I'm sure she just needs some time to process." "I can't lose her too," she said on the verge of tears. "Celine, you will never lose Thea. She loves you more than life itself. Everything will be okay. I promise. We'll make this right. You've got this. Always." "How do you know?" "I just do." There was a strange confidence growing inside me, not the kind which lends courage to overcome fear, but an understanding of why it'd been a fear to begin with, as if putting together a puzzle or playing chess, and seeing pieces moved in ways which reveal the endgame before it's arrived. I couldn't help but feel that this unexpected turn was our journey's true beginning, the testament of will that Thea was preparing me for. I looked up smiling to meet Celine's eyes. "What's that goofy-ass look for?" she asked. "Just thinking is all," I replied, giggling under my breath. "Don't snicker at me, Winnie. What the hell? Why do you always act like you've got something to say, but don't have the guts to?" Many people assume my laughter is a coping mechanism, but having lived an abysmal life subjected to heinous acts, I don't laugh at things that occur, but find humor in what hasn't or won't. It could always be worse. The world shares omens if we're looking, like little signposts of reassurance, and laughter is my way of thanking it. It was a sad situation, but an extraordinary opportunity for growth. The path ahead was laid with reason and would be walked with purpose. "I don't lack guts, Bird," I said. "Sometimes some things just don't need to be spoken." "You just assume I know what you're thinking?" she scoffed. "Silly girl. I have a feeling part of you does. Either way, everything will work itself out just as it should. I promise you that. But for now, it's very cold and I've quite a long walk ahead of me. Try and get some rest. After all, this night will find its end. The morrow will bring a new day, a new light, to start once more and make things right. Get home safe, Irk. Sweet dreams, Bird." That bitter cold walk brought sweet revelation, having made many changes with each stride. I'd returned to the club, not to ease my wandering mind with a stiff drink, but to let them know I'd never be back. After leaving, what remained of an old flask was poured into the gutter as any alcohol intake came to a screeching halt. There were very important matters at hand, and avoidance wasn't one of them. It was time for that sad boy cowering in the dark corners of my soul to become the strong man he always was. I'd once let my family fall without a fight, having remembered on that bitter, cold night. I was weak and without will. I let them pay that price, a mistake made once, but wouldn't make twice. The parents have been foraging. for some time now, it seems. Perhaps we caught them on the tail end of breakfast. I did get a bit of a late start this morning. But I'm sure you caught them in the beginning, which is wonderful. Yes, quite a remarkable place this is. I can see how they were so drawn to it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this quiet, soft, gentle chapter of The Stars Above. Please come on back next time. Can't wait to see you. Thanks so much.